The focus of this practice today is going to be about creating space in our torso for our breath to move fluidly and freely. So I'm just going to invite you to take a moment to just settle into a seated position, whether it's on a chair, sitting on a block, or sitting in bent knee modified hero's position, whatever works best for you. I'm going to just invite you to close your eyes and bring your awareness to where you feel your breath moving. So try not to create any breath that isn't natural. You're just noticing where your breath has the freedom to move in your torso. From that piece of awareness, I'm going to invite you to take either a yoga strap or a scarf and come into a breath practice here. So this is called scarf breathing. So we're going to take this scarf and we're going to take it around the lower rib cage. So once you have that scarf or belt in place, you're going to just do it up snugly, but not so tight that it's restricting your movement. And just have it around the lower ribs and just a soft pressure onto the ribs rather than locking down. So go ahead and close your eyes again and take a few breaths, and without changing the volume of your breath, we're just taking a natural breath here. And notice where in your body you feel the expansion against that scarf. Without changing the volume of your breath again, take your awareness of this breathing into the sides of your rib cage. So into the sides and the lower ribs. And then bringing your awareness to the back side of the rib cage, so on the scarf towards the back. Not increasing your volume, just notice if you're aware of breath moving into the back of the torso. And then notice if you can bring your awareness to the front of the ribs, the back of the ribs, and the sides of the ribs, all at the same time. So when we breathe, our diaphragm draws downwards into the belly, so it's pulling down to create this vacuum of the lungs, in the lungs to fill, and at the same time the lungs have to expand outwards into the front, the back, and the sides of the rib cage, the top and the bottom of the rib cage. So to accommodate for that expansion, what needs to happen is the rib cage needs to expand as we breathe in. So there's muscles called the intercostal muscles that live between each of our ribs. They work to open up and expand the rib cage out to the sides and back down. And because of the shape of the rib cage and where the ribs are connected onto the spine and the front of the breastbone, they lift almost like a bucket handle. So I'm obviously over exaggerating, but the movement is this up and out and back in, up and out. I guess it's down and in. So just visualize that breath movement as you pay attention to your breath around that scarf. And then go ahead and take that scarf off of your ribs. And just pause for a breath again. Evaluate what the breath feels like in your body now that you've removed the stimulus. From here, we're going to look at our side bend. So you're going to bring your right hand up towards the side of your ear or your head. Take your left hand to the floor or the side of the chair or on a block, whichever position you're working with. And then you're going to focus on drawing your waist into a side bend on the left side, and then your spine is just going to follow that side bend. The right pelvis is going to stay anchored down onto the floor, the block, or the chair. And expand your breath into the right side of your torso. Visualize the bucket handles of the ribs lifting and lowering as you breathe. And if it's available to you to take the arm overhead, go ahead and bring it over. And one more breath there. And inhale, bringing yourself back up, and let the hand come down to the floor. Left hand comes up to the outside of the ear, and then on an exhale, you're going to take your side bend through the waist on the right side, the rib cage follows, and the spine follows that movement. And take a breath in here. Left sit bone stays connected to the floor, and perhaps taking that left arm overhead. Breathing into the left side of the ribs. On your inhale, go ahead and come on back up. And releasing that arm back down. From there, we're going to go into our spinal flexion and extension. So we're moving the pelvis on the leg bones to initiate the movement of flexion in the spine. So I'm just going to turn to the side. So in that movement, we want the pelvis to start moving on the femur. So just play with that movement initially, taking your tailbone, tucking it under, tipping it back, tucking it under, tipping it back. And then we're going to continue the movement. So you're going to tuck the tailbone under, start to round through the spine, one vertebrae at a time as you go up along the spine. And then lastly, the spine towards the thoracic spine comes in and the head's going to drop last. Take your tailbone towards the back of the mat, and you're going to extend the spine up one vertebrae at a time, all the way to the crown of the head. And then tuck the tailbone under. You can connect that movement with an exhale as you round one vertebrae at a time. And then inhale as you extend the spine. And obviously you're moving in your pain and tension-free range of motion, working in ease to create more ease and openness in the body. And finish off with one more in each direction. And again, just come back into that neutral position and pause and breathe. From here, we're going to move on to our side. We're going to be going through the sunrise and sunset. So in sunrise and sunset, we're going to be focusing on finding our twist emerging from our waist. So I've got a couple of blankets here set up. I've got one blanket to go under my rib cage to help keep my spine in alignment when I lie on my side. And then I've got a blanket, and I've actually got a block under that blanket to support my head and keep my neck basically in line with my spine. So when I come onto my side, you almost, or also might want a block between your knees. So when you come onto the side, you want to stack that shoulder underneath the top shoulder. So I'm on my left side with my right shoulder up towards the sky. And then just rest for a couple of breaths here after changing position. So just settling in, and we're going to start to make our movement of retracting and protracting the shoulder blade. So I have my right hand on top of my left, and I'm going to glide my shoulder blade to come back towards my spine, which will pull my arm. Then I'm going to draw my blade forward on the rib cage, or around, sort of wrapping it around the side, which will push my arm forward. So I'm not trying to actively use my arm to move my shoulder blade. I'm using my shoulder blade to move my arm. And the blade is just moving towards my spine and away from my spine. Ideally, we're hoping that the lower back isn't getting involved in this movement. We're just gliding the blade forward and back into movements that are called protraction and retraction. The rib cage is staying nice and quiet. The head and the neck aren't getting involved. And just protract and retract. From there, we're going to focus on our twist. So bring your hand up onto the side of your waist. Feel free to bring a finger onto your pelvis and then your thumb onto your rib cage. The idea of the twist is that the rib cage moves away from the pelvis. The pelvis is going to just softly stay anchored where it is. And then my shoulder and my head and neck are just following the action of the rib cage because they're attached to it. And then you're going to bring it back out of that twist. Practice just finding the waist twist, so the obliques twisting in the waist. And then coming back. What often happens here is that we'll jam the shoulder back. So we'll press back with that arm bone or the elbow, and the blade will draw back. And that all just takes the power out of the oblique muscles to take you into that twist. So think about keeping the power in the obliques, and the shoulders just passive. It's just actually nice and soft and relaxed. And then we're going to connect the arm movement into this. So as you inhale, your arm bone is going to come up towards the sky, and then the movement of the shoulder is actually, or the movement of the arm bone stops here and softly anchored into the shoulder socket. We take the twist now into the waist. And yes, my shoulder's coming back, but my shoulder's coming back with my arm because they're attached to the rib cage. And then you'll inhale in your twist. And then you're going to exhale and let the waist pull you back out. And let the arm come back down. Inhale to bring the arm up. And exhale as you come into that twist. Inhale in your twist. And exhale to come out. Continue on. Inhaling, take the arm up. Exhale as you come into your twist. And you're only coming in. I want you to also pay attention to what's happening at the pelvis. If your pelvis starts to follow you in, then consider that you're just letting the pelvis follow in. We're trying to activate the obliques here. So once you get back to your start position, if your pelvis was starting to follow you in, you're going to make your twist a little bit smaller so that it's just the rib cage taking you into your twist. Inhale in that twist. And exhale as you come back out. Inhaling, taking it up. Exhale into your twist. Inhale there. And exhale to come out of your twist. So moving at the rhythm and the pace of your breath, trying to keep the pelvis softly anchored so it's not locked down. The shoulder isn't locked down. It's comfortable in the socket. And finish off with a couple more. And from there, go ahead and come on up. Join me back in a seat just to check in from side to side. And take a nice easy breath here. And notice how much space is available for your breath on the right side of your torso. Coming back down to the mat, come on to your right side. And your left arm is out on top. So from here, we're going to just settle for a breath or two before moving into our movement. And then we're going to draw the blade back towards the spine. That's going to glide the hand back or the arm back. Draw your blade forward on the rib cage. And then draw it back. So the waist is staying quiet. The muscles down in the lower back aren't getting involved. All we're doing is gliding the blade on the ribs. Couple more in each direction. And if you're noticing your lower back's getting involved, just make the movement a bit smaller. Bring your hand onto the pelvis and the rib cage. And then again, exploring where you feel your twist here. So you're going to start to work at the obliques taking you into a twist. And then coming back out. Finding your waist moving relative to the pelvis. Watch that you're not getting really bracy with your breath either. Because some people will lock down and we get really tight with the breath. Just let the breath be fluid. And you will feel muscle engagement in the waist as you contract those obliques. And then coming back, take the arm out on top of the opposite hand. And then you're going to take your inhale to take the arm up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, you're taking your waist into the twist, which is going to bring the arm, and then the head follows that movement. Inhale there. And then exhale, let the ribs bring the torso out, or the obliques bring the torso out, and the arm comes back down. Inhale, taking the arm up. And exhale back into your twist. Inhaling there. And exhaling to come on all the way out, back to start. And finish off with about 3 or 4 more. Last one. And bringing that arm back down.
And then from there, we'll come back, finding a comfortable seat again.
Coming back to the position that you started off in, and take your hands to your heart. Bring your awareness to the space that's now available to your breath. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.